If you're interested in the fate of the EFL teacher, then this video is for you.
Silent breed is people!
After watching this video today, you will have a much better understanding of the EFL online industry today. How we got here, the decisions that you need to make in order to navigate through this, and how we can best prepare for those changes by diversifying your income and getting income from multiple sources. Because there's so much information to get into, this presentation will be broken down into two parts. Today is part one. We'll be looking at China. Everything absolutely starts with China. And also how the market is reacting, with plenty of examples of those rogue outfits and non-rogue outfits which are offering different types of jobs. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, turn on the notifications, because in the next few days we'll be coming up with part two, where I'm going to explain to you any port in a storm and always upgrade. It's very important to understand this. China accounted for as much as 49% of the global EFL industry. Whilst new opportunities undoubtedly will emerge, everything has been reset. And what is it being replaced with at the moment? Ideas are floating around. You got it. Chess, household, calligraphy. Of course, this does not mean that China's going to stop learning English. On the contrary, they're simply going to replace a lot of those foreign teachers with their own Chinese teaching Chinese English. Also important to remember that the future generations, if they don't continue to learn English, then they would be at a significant disadvantage, because China is very important with trade to the West. China has been learning at such a phenomenal rate that nobody else can keep up with. In the West, no way are we learning Chinese at the rate that the Chinese are learning English. However, for the government, this has come at a cost, and they very clearly stated in multiple outlets they're bored, they're tired of our Western propaganda infused into a lot of those lessons. There's much speculation about opportunities in the non-profit sector. Different hours, class sizes, of course the black market is absolutely going to thrive. But what was will not be. That's for sure. The kids market was an absolute free-for-all, and it just ended up, especially during the COVID period, as a wild form of capitalism. The new government policies and regulations have caused online tutoring companies to start falling like dominoes. Some pretty big ones have fallen, but the giant in the room has not yet capitulated. They have announced internally, they've announced to their staff, they've announced inside China, it's even been reported on. But still, they're pretending to hire people. Only last week did they very suddenly, following the exact same blueprint as others, cancel lessons due to those new regulations. When VIP Kid falls, the dam will bust. Overnight, the EFL market will saturate. Whether you're for these laws or against them is absolutely irrelevant. It doesn't matter. That conversation is dead. There's only one important thing that we need to worry about. The Titanic has been hit. We need to start making life rafts. We need to find a safe haven where we can start earning another income. And in the process of doing that, you're going to see how the market is reacting. So let's talk about the second part today, and that is the market reactions. Be sure to join our Facebook group, where I'll be keeping you updated on those good jobs and adding all the time the wall of shame. I'd like to wake you up to those red flag places which are emerging. The wall of shame gets bigger each and every single day. This is not a coincidence. Companies all over the world are looking at China, and trust me, they are licking their lips. Cheap labor will emerge, but standards will drop. I've broken them down into 5 categories. Number 1, we'll be looking at what I term the Scallywag. The Scallywag has no honor, no culture. It's pure vulturism. The greediest who offer ridiculously low rates of pay, and these companies will amend their strategies or perish. Many will work for those low rates. Just look at here, how many comments this one had for $1. But such a game plan can only be a short-term endeavor. And that could very well be the plan. A grab and snatch. No long-term strategy, let's just try and make as much as we can in a very short period of time and then run away. Now number 2 is what I'm gonna call the Stavros. That slick back hair, open shirt, hairy chest and a big gold medallion. They offer decent rates. Not quite as good as the good old days, but good enough for people to be able to swallow without feeling too resentful about things. Into the mix you throw an attractive bonus scheme, which will pay rather handsomely. But in order to reach that pie in the sky, you're going to have to be in the top 10% of the top 10% of thousands of teachers. And what happens to the rest? Well, they get nothing.
As you all know, first prize is a Cadillac Eldorado. Anybody want to see second prize? Second prize is a set of steak knives.
While these companies, I'm going to call them the Stavros, we can also call them the Tinder of the EFL. Yeah, that's right, the Tinder of EFL, where personalities, pictures, airbrushed, Photoshop, and the social media illusion are going to help you earn those extra greenbacks each month. Swipe left or swipe right for the teacher that you would like to choose couldn't be easier. And you know the reason why those companies are going to thrive? Because it gives instant gratification to those students. Selecting the one you like, that's half of the job already, right? Which brings us to number 3. What I'm going to call the Prince Charlie. Establishments with hundreds of years behind them. Cambridge, IELTS, Oxford University Press, you know the names. They're going to be fine. They will remain untouched. Number 4 is what I call the grey man. Humble, fair, lacking ostentation. The pay is above average and they expect quality in return. They believe in the long-term relationship on both sides of the coin for teachers and clients alike. Lacking elitism, focusing more on quality of servicement and skills development. As I've mentioned in my previous video on CVs, making CVs, cover letters, focusing on those skills, presentation giving, negotiations, pronunciation practice. They want people who can really teach those core skills to people, and clients in return are going to happily pay for that quality service. Learnship.com, you've heard me talk about them many times. They're absolutely fantastic. I'm working for them. These guys will survive and thrive, and yet so many people have never ever even heard of them. Which brings me to the very last one. We always have to save the best to last. What we are left with is what I have coined the 12 monkeys.
How much you gonna pay me? How much? I'd be doing your job.
$5,000, my man. That enough?
That's right. The insane, the bizarre, trying so hard to be unconventional, they come up with ridiculous schemes in the name of innovation. If you haven't come across a company like this, then let me share one with you. Because if you haven't seen or heard or experienced such a place, then welcome to the fantastic team of talented employees at shiminli.com. If you've been teaching for a few years, you probably have collected over time your own archive. You know, that go-to collection that just in case you don't really know what to do, you can whip that out of the bag and you've got a ready-made lesson for yourself. Now, if you're with a good company, you won't really need those. Many people, they have an archive, but they don't really need it. And the reason why is because number 1, most companies have their own materials that they've created, or number 2, they have a license to use those best materials from Oxford or Cambridge. At shiminli.com, which is Japanese meaning citizen, they teach K-12 kids exclusively in Japan? No, in India. So even from the beginning, we can already see how confused they are, right? And their main focus is IT-based interactive learning. Now, such an innovative company is offering $16 to $19 per hour. And they require you to create web quests using virtual programs such as PowerPoint. Now just think of that. For each and every lesson, you need to make a web quest and a PowerPoint presentation. In preparation for my interview, it took me about an hour to really go through this, understand it, and create a cool presentation. So now it's already $8 per hour because I've spent an hour on the prep and then an hour for giving the lesson, right? So it's not $16 an hour because you need to put a lot of prep into that. Hold on. If you think that's the best part, then just wait. Because the truly, truly awesome thing is that if you go to their own recommended website and you were to carbon copy using some creativity, but you're carbon copied based upon their own recommendations, then before you even got a chance to do the interview, they'd reject you. Yeah, that's right, folks. Welcome to the theater of the bizarre. And if you're an EFL teacher at the time that this video was made, then you do not have a front row seat at this freak show. No, you are a member of the fucking cast. Yes, that's right. However, if you, like me, enjoy the lifestyle that teaching online offers, this nomadic lifestyle that I have, that maybe you have too, you've got to subscribe to this channel, turn on that notification bell, because in the next couple of days we'll be coming up with part 2, where I'll take each and every one of you by the hand and show you how to walk between the raindrops. Today I've given you some of my examples. I'd love to see your examples too. 10 brains are better than 1, 20 brains are better than 10. I'd love for you to share your experiences. If you can show any of those outrageous companies of how the market is reacting, then please share them in the comments below so that other people can wake up too. Take care, everybody. It's a zoo out there. And remember,
Silent breed is people!